Hello, everybody, and welcome to MAWS Talks Wrestling. We are your hosts. I am LunaKage,
And I am the great Glenburg.
the great Glenburg, who is well fed and ready to talk for an hour. All right.
Oh man.
We had nothing really comes to mind, honestly, as far as like super important things. As far
Yeah,
as story wise, it's kind of been a slow week.
it
We had
was.
Seth Rollins doing his heel promo. That's really the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, surprisingly, SmackDown ended up doing more for the week when it usually
Yeah,
doesn't because of the Money in the Bank thing.
right.
Yeah.
They need to throw together as many qualifying matches as possible.
Yes.
Though I guess we could start off with NXT. That's fresh in your mind because I think you just watched it, right?
I did, yes.
All right. So what do we have going on there?
So the Diva situation from last week with the BFFs and Paige, Emma, and Bailey that ended up being a six Diva tag team match.
Yeah.
Basically, Emma got beat up most of the match. Bailey got the hot tag. Paige was kind of like just
Yeah.
assist. She
I,
didn't do nothing.
I remember her like not even getting tagged in. I don't think
Yeah,
she kind of ran interference a couple of times, but she didn't
yeah,
really get an official tag.
yeah, exactly. And BFFs were just showing more dissension between Summer, well, all three of them actually.
Yeah. Um, if I remember correctly, I think uh, I think Summer Rae gets a title shot pretty soon.
Huh.
I don't know how it happens because they tape so many shows in advance,
Okay.
and they just got done taping more shows.
Uh-huh.
So they're not even done with their 4 week period that they just recorded, but they already recorded another 4 weeks. So what was this? This has been the second week since NXT. I think since Takeover.
Mm-hmm.
So that means they have 6 shows recorded already, and I
Mm.
believe I believe on one of those shows, Summer Rae gets a title shot. I don't know who wins, but yeah,
So I wonder, so when they actually aren't live, what are they actually doing? Traveling or something?
I mean they could be. They probably do house shows, dark matches maybe,
Yeah.
but other than that, I think it's probably a pretty relaxed schedule. But I can't say that for sure because I don't know. But
Yeah.
all I know is working one night a month for TV tapings and maybe doing some house shows and stuff. It's nowhere near as hectic as doing 4 live shows guaranteed, as well as a taping of SmackDown or what have you every week.
So yeah, a WWE taping will definitely humble you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. I thought, well, I guess cause. Wait, so that's my question. And so basically, whenever the NXT people end up on Raw, they're pretty fresh because they already taped the NXT episodes.
Unless, of course, when they show up on Raw, happens to be shortly after the time where they just did fucking 4 matches the same night.
Yeah.
That's assuming that any one person works a match
Uh-huh.
for all 4 weeks worth of recordings, which doesn't always happen.
Right.
I'm pretty sure they've been pretty good at that. I can't really remember the last time anybody's had a match 4 weeks in a row, and I think it's for that reason.
Yeah, that's a pretty back and forth schedule.
Right.
Let's see. But let me see. After that match, it was funny. As soon as I saw like Mr. NXT, I was cracking up because
Yeah.
he I don't know. Bo Dallas's body type is stands out too much. I knew it was him right then. Cause like, thank you for the opportunity.
Right. Like there's no. It's not even the body type. You could just tell
Yeah,
because they left the slit for his mouth, and
yeah,
his
yeah.
his mouth
He's
his
still
mouth is the
smiling.
thing that yeah his mouth is the thing that sells the character most of the time. So I think it was funny, like watching him getting forced out of the arena by security.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That was like the most entertaining security force out that I've ever seen in wrestling, and that's kind of saying something because that happens all the fucking time.
Yeah, like I remember the last big one was like when Eric Bischoff got thrown in a garbage truck.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you remember that.
I don't.
Maybe that was during that period that you didn't watch wrestling.
I don't think so. It was Bischoff, so I'm pretty sure I watched at that point.
But I know he got fired, so.
I don't know, maybe.
Let's see. Well, besides that, so Sami Zayn, of course, pulled off the mask, like we said, and he got kicked out of the arena.
Yep. And we finally got to see somebody get pinned from Sami Zayn's finisher.
Yeah,
Like literally, it was kind of bugging me because he loses so often, and he loses in matches where there's a bunch of false finishes. I was like, what is his fucking finisher? Like, I've seen so many people kick out of the haluva kick and shit. So it's like finally seeing someone get beaten by it. I'm like, it's about fucking time.
The haluva kick. Yeah, let's see. There was another match. Forgot the guy's name, but he went against It was just one of I guess one of the newer NXT guys I didn't really recognize. But they had that match.
Who was he facing?
I can't recall.
You're not helping.
Let's see. Damn it. Okay, elevator music.
That's hardly elevator music.
Move to the music, play the music. Whoa, never give in. Whoa. Okay,
Just going through all of the Raw themes.
Raw flashback on WWE Network, weeknights at 3 and 4 a.m. And yeah, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Cassidy defeats Sylvester Lefort.
Oh, yeah, Colin Cassidy. I barely remember that match because I really wasn't paying much attention to it.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that I don't like Colin Cassidy or anything. It's just, I'm like, oh, okay, they're not doing anything with him right now, so just kind of, it's just going to be pretty much a glorified squash match.
I had a double take because I was listening to his entrance theme, and I'm like, wait, kind of reminds me of Tyler Breeze's entrance theme a little bit. It threw me off.
Really?
I don't know, because it had like that upbeat type music, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not Tyler Breeze. But yeah.
So what else happened? I think the only thing left
the main event.
was the main event. Yeah.
Yes.
Which was another good match.
Yes.
Which it's really good because it kind of like reminds you that if they get time, they can just do whatever. Because if you would have put the same two guys together, but only given them like 8 minutes, you know, it wouldn't have been as good, nearly as good.
Right.
But I think they went another fucking 20 minutes, like on this past NXT. So they did quite a few. They did a few new spots. They did a couple of repeated spots from Takeover, which is never a bad thing, really.
Right.
And then you got to see Natalya out there in her dress, which it's kind of weird because it's like
good in that dress. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, of course she did, but not even just that.
Yeah.
But it kind of put in perspective. I'm like, holy shit, when did she get those tits? That's like crazy. And you know, I guess her ring gear is just really good at flattening them out. But
I think so.
But we got to see Tyson Kidd getting so frustrated that he was getting ready to use a chair, and Natalya was like, no, not this way.
Do you think he was just going for the mix-up, like fake out the referee so he can put the chair back? Well, he still would have to do something illegal, even if the referee was putting the chair back, so I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, like we're starting to see some cracks in the mental cracks in the sanity, I guess.
Yes.
Of Tyson Kidd there.
Yeah. He's gonna get repackaged soon, huh?
They're actually there's talks about them not repackaging him, even though the mask has already been ordered and designed and shit.
Uh-huh.
I guess what's gonna happen, and this is spoilers. I don't know if it happens next week or what, but I guess what is it? I know it's Tyson Kidd and I think someone else. Who's it? Justin Gabriel maybe.
Huh.
But him and somebody else, they turn heel by beating the shit out of Sami Zayn, of course.
Right.
Who else is there?
Yeah.
Who else is there?
Right.
So they're kind of thinking of just having Tyson Kidd and his partner, who I forget, just remain heels for a while, which is pretty good because maybe getting a heel gimmick might refresh Tyson Kidd for a while and actually get him to do something.
Yeah. I can see it.
Because like they've already proved it that Tyson Kidd can work not only a good match but a WWE style match that even the diehard indie internet smarks would even enjoy, which is pretty much what Neville and Kidd was together. Like,
Right.
it was clearly a WWE style match. It told a story and everything, but it was also something that even the most diehard of I just want to see flips and shit kind of fans could enjoy as well. So maybe WWE as a whole will start putting a little bit more stock into Tyson Kidd. I guess we'll have to see with how well he does the heel gimmick.
Yeah, a heel gimmick can really do great wonders for your career, and it usually lets the wrestler express more out of the character instead of just being a optimistic face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so overall, yeah, it was a pretty good match. See what happens next week with that if it does happen.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, with Raw, of course, like I said, Seth Rollins was kind of just doing his thing.
New theme.
Yeah.
At least I think it's new. I can't remember if it's the one he used in NXT or not,
Uh-huh.
but I do know the one he used in NXT was at least really similar. It was the metal stuff, because basically Seth Rollins' intro, he would come out to the heavy metal music and he would just start fucking moshing around by himself. But the thing is, that's a babyface thing.
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
So
I don't see
I don't think he's gonna do that variation of the entrance as a heel.
just walks around.
Yeah. Like, it's. I would have much rather, to be honest. Like, I'm glad the new theme. I like the new theme because one, it's my kind of music, and two, I know that's what he used to come out to anyway. But
Uh-huh.
I kind of would have rather him like just come out to Evolution's theme for a while.
Yeah, you notice
Just to kinda-
after Seth joined, they kept it to King of Kings. Like it's just Triple H and his henchmen again, or
Right. Like,
his buddies.
I guess the thing is Seth Rollins isn't joining Evolution. Like, I guess he's not necessarily aligned with Triple H. He's just kind of heel, maybe. I don't know. It's not really clear yet. But the promo that Seth Rollins cut, the heel promo, it was actually done really well. I was kind of impressed.
Uh-huh.
Plus, with the way the light hit his face, it made his eyes look all dark and shit. So
Like that was the intention. Yes.
he looked like a genuinely bad dude.
Uh-huh.
My only worry is that Vince won't like him much because he looks foreign.
Oh,
And he kinda
that's
does.
That's actually a thing. Vince doesn't like foreign.
He doesn't really care for them too much. Like, oh, Seth Rollins, he's not a Arabic terrorist sympathizer. No, we can't put the belt on him.
Oh man.
I mean, because that's the thing. I was always kind of wondering. I'm like, Seth Rollins. I'm relatively sure he's white, but he's kind of got with the facial hair combined with his like facial structure, he kind of looks a little Arabic a little bit.
Yeah. I can see. I always thought he did kind of look that way too.
Yeah, but I know Triple H is behind him because, like I said last episode, Seth Rollins was the very first NXT champion. So
Uh-huh.
I never really put two and two together when we were talking about like, where the Shield is going to go after they break up, so many months ago. But
First NXT champion, first to make the biggest impact.
right, I mean, Seth Rollins, in a way, him turning is kind of like, WWE saying we do plan on going somewhere with him. He's not just going to be the forgotten member of the Shield, which is good because the end game, in my opinion, should be for all three of those guys to be a staple in the main event scene for the future.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's the good thing about stables. Everyone breaks off because same thing happened in Evolution. Batista
Yeah,
and Orton weren't teaming up forever. In Evolution, they eventually did their own thing.
that's what a successful stable is supposed to do.
Yeah.
But then you take a stable like Legacy, where it didn't end up getting anybody over.
Uh
It
huh.
was just Randy Orton and his two cronies.
Yeah.
And you could say that Cody Rhodes is pretty good now, but it wasn't because of Legacy.
Nah.
He had to get himself over after breaking off from Legacy. It definitely wasn't because of Legacy. And then
It didn't really
Ted
help.
DiBiase.
Yeah, it didn't
Ted
really help
DiBiase's gone.
DiBiase either.
Didn't help him at all. He's not even with WWE anymore.
Hmm.
And then Aces and Eights, we've talked about that plenty of times, but that's just TNA in general.
Uh huh.
So yeah,
TNA.
the Shield has been a successful stable, not just in their run, but in their breakup. It looks like each one of those guys could be a legitimate contender for main event, and I'm hoping they start doing something with them. Like obviously, the thing is though, with the Shield consistently being in the main event
Uh-huh.
for a while now, as a team,
Right.
are they now too big to be mid-carders? Like, where do you go from here? Can you put the mid-card titles on them? Like, the reason why I was okay with Dean losing the belt is because, one, he wasn't doing anything with it, and two, he was too big for the belt.
Well, I think at least if they were to get a mid card title, it definitely would be the Intercontinental.
Yeah,
That one,
because like,
yeah, at this point, it's higher up.
if they were to leave Ambrose and Reigns together for a while longer and put the tag titles on them, it would almost feel like a cop out
Uh huh.
because it's like what the fuck are they gonna do with the tag team titles?
Yeah. I don't think
And
they should continue just trying to make the Shield work with Ambrose and Reigns.
right, and it almost feels like Reigns is never going to have a mid card title. Like, the tag team belts might be the only thing that he gets because he's already had it
Yeah.
before an eventual WWE title. Because I think that might very well be his next championship, just going straight to the top.
Uh huh.
Because they, WWE as a whole already like him, and
Yeah.
He's got the look and everything, which was the reason why Vince probably likes him. So, I mean, maybe Ambrose and Rollins. Like, actually, the way I look at it, having one of those two hold it, and then having those two feud for it, might be a really good way to revitalize the mid card title scene. Because the thing about the mid card is the reason why it doesn't feel as important isn't just because they don't get time in matches, but it's also because there's no reason storyline wise for anybody to care too much
Yeah,
about.
it's just I'm holding a title. It's nothing linked to it.
Like one thing that comes to mind when I think about that, and it's kind of funny when I think about it, but the feud between Chris Jericho and Chyna
Uh huh.
for the Intercontinental title, that was a feud.
Yes.
There was actually a reason for those two to be fighting for it, but who do we even know if there's number one contender for the mid card belts right now?
No, it kind of just seems like everyone gets a random chance from case to case basis. Like
Right.
this week, let's just throw you up against Ziggler or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, some people say that in order to build credibility for the title is to have them defend it like every week or every other week. That's not gonna do anything if every time it's going to be a 5-6 minute match with no like story behind it, because that just makes it another Divas match.
That's true. It's like I said, it doesn't add any serious credibility to it.
So here's what I would do, and as much as I like Bad News Barrett, like, you know, he doesn't necessarily need that title. He's had that title too many times,
Uh-huh.
and revitalizing his career isn't necessarily uh, going to be helped by just getting the same title he's gotten like 6 times before.
Uh-huh.
You know, he needs to make his way to the main event eventually, and he's already been around long enough. I'm not saying to give him the title, but put him in a couple of main event feuds. But anyway, this isn't about him right now. It's about the mid card titles.
Right.
I'd say a good way to possibly build them up again, and maybe even unify the two belts, maybe,
Uh-huh.
but not necessarily a must. But say you get one of the two, Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose. You know, you put them in a throwaway match, as in a match that's just random, the same way they always do with the Intercontinental title.
Right.
You know, maybe throw Rollins against Bad News Barrett, because it's fucking, you know, it's Triple H. And it's like, we'll give you a shot at the title right away because, you know, you're such a good little boy.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, that match could still kind of work because Bad News Barrett, even though he's a heel, he still kind of works like a babyface anyway.
Yeah.
So have Seth Rollins beat him for it, and then the next week, you know, have him beat Bad News Barrett in the rematch for the rematch clause. Then have Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose feud for it.
So,
Because we know that Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are going to have a feud. We know that for sure.
yeah, that's always good when it's almost like I remember watching, I think it was one of those Beyond the Rings with Triple H or somebody else where they said something like, I believe the guy makes the championship, not the championship makes the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
And that,
kind of like with the Intercontinental title, like you said, I mean, if you have a main eventer holding it, they can make a storyline out of it and make
yeah.
it good. Like when they,
Because look at it this way. Look at any of the main event feuds recently that haven't been for the World Heavyweight Championship.
right,
Bray Wyatt versus John Cena.
uh-huh,
Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan going back to the Royal Rumble.
uh-huh,
Shit, what else? The Shield versus Evolution, even though that doesn't really apply here because they're not singles.
uh-huh,
But take any of those main events that are singles main events that aren't for titles. If they would have been for a mid-card title, it would have felt like the title was important.
yes,
Obviously, it's like, oh, but it's guys like Cena and it's guys like CM Punk versus Curtis Axel. Who cares? It doesn't matter if they're main eventers, because they're going to be main eventers regardless. Fucking, if you put the title in those feuds, it's going to make the titles feel more important. So when it gets to the point where it's time for an actual mid-card guy like Big E to actually get a shot at the title, it'll feel like, oh, he's actually moving up in the company. Holy shit,
Yeah.
they're giving him a shot at the title.
he took
you
it
know?
off a guy who could easily be a world champ.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like, it's like they're only giving mid-card titles to main eventers if they're not doing anything with the main eventers, and that's the exact opposite
yeah,
of what you got to do. Sheamus having the U.S. title, and I may have thought last week or the week before, because my opinions change when I actually start thinking about shit. But I thought, oh, Sheamus having it will make it, you know, more legit because he's a former world champion, and on some levels that might be right. But the fact that Sheamus isn't doing anything, so now he's got the title, and now he's still not doing anything, even though he's got the title,
right,
it's just the same problem that the mid-card titles have been having from the get-go. If you would have had, for example, the perfect thing, when CM Punk was feuding with Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman,
right,
you know, if you would have made those matches for the Intercontinental title, yeah, I know that means Punk would have won them, and it's like, oh, Punk is too good for the Intercontinental title now. That's not the point. The whole reason why he's too good for the Intercontinental title is because we perceive the Intercontinental title as not being good enough anymore.
yeah,
And that's the exact reason.
yeah. There was a time where You can have Triple H and The Rock be on a card and compete for the Intercontinental title and still have a World Championship
Yeah,
match at the end of the night.
I mean, back when Steve Austin turned heel
Yeah,
before the invasion angle started,
right.
they had the two-man power trip, Steve Austin and Triple H,
Uh-huh.
and they held all of the titles. They held the world title. Austin had the world title, and then Triple H had the Intercontinental title.
Right.
The Intercontinental title still meant something, even though the performer was at the level where he should be getting world titles. Kind of the same thing. Like, look at go even farther back, like Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior
Uh-huh.
for both titles for WWF and Intercontinental.
That was hype.
That worked because both men were champions, and the Intercontinental Championship was viewed as whoever held it being the number two guy in the company. So it made sense for the number one guy, Hulk Hogan, who held the world title, to face the number two guy, Ultimate Warrior, who had the Intercontinental title, to have that passing of the torch moment to oh, now he's the number one guy because the number two guy surpassed the number one guy.
Yeah.
Like right now, you take the Intercontinental Champion, he's not the number two guy in the company.
Yeah.
If we were to say like
Wade Barrett.
fucking Wade Barrett, no, he's not the number two guy in the fucking company.
Exactly.
Like Sheamus isn't the number two or number three guy in the company. No, fucking, and it's not that the number two guy has to hold it, but it has to feel like he's the number two guy because he holds it. Like that's what makes the title important, because of the feuds and the matches that surround it. If you just have a 10-minute championship match at a pay-per-view, that's not going to sell the title. You put it fucking on Bray Wyatt versus John Cena at that last man standing match we had.
Oh, yeah. Then I would
That-
definitely make the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, that would have felt like, oh man, this title means something, instead of just making every single feud that John Cena's in about his legacy. It could be about that too, but like they're fighting for the title. Like, oh man, the United States title must be hella important. These guys are killing each other for it.
Everything feels like the hardcore title now. Yeah.
But yeah, like right now they're just wasting away, and it's not the mid card, it's the lower card. Like the mid card guys don't get any time. That's not mid card. Mid card is like any main event that's not the main event. That's what the mid card is.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, because what happens at the middle of the card? The fucking first hour, the second hour main event. That's what happens.
Right.
Like when you put the Intercontinental or the mid-card titles on the lower card, it makes them feel not important at all. Like look at it like from the Attitude Era standpoint. We had just as many, if not more titles than we had now. Back in the Attitude Era, you had the world title, tag team titles, Intercontinental, European, light heavyweight, and the women's titles. So 6 titles, and that is that what we have now? I think we have 5 now, don't we?
Let me see.
Yeah,
we
we have 5 now. We have World Heavyweight, Tag Team, U.S. Intercontinental, and Women's.
Yeah,
Divas.
Yeah. Like that made a huge difference.
Right. So they had 6 titles. Now, the European title didn't really mean a whole lot. That was the low card title. Light heavyweight, pretty much the same thing. It was even lower on the card. It was them trying to cash in on the cruiserweight, but they couldn't do it because the cruiserweights just worked a heavyweight style, except they were all light guys.
Yeah.
Tag team titles, it really depended on what era it was. Obviously, when you had the Hardys and TLC matches happening, it felt really important. But the Intercontinental title, there was a lot of the times there were feuds for it. There were like at least like semi-important feuds for it.
Right.
Like for example, back before either one of them became World Heavyweight Champion, The Rock versus Triple H, in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title. That happened, and that was important.
It was a hard match.
Yeah, even going as recent as 2004, when Randy Orton held the Intercontinental title, he was like the longest reigning champion for a while.
Uh-huh.
Like, every match he was in felt important because it was like, oh man, we got to take it off of this guy. We hate this guy.
Yes.
Like, you had guys like Mick Foley coming out of retirement being all like, I want you in, fucking, did he call it a hardcore match? I forgot what he called it, but it was no disqualification.
The barbed wire? Or, no, it was a hardcore. I know
It
barbed
was
wire
hardcore.
was involved at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was definitely a death match of some kind, but
Yeah.
it was before they started saying Extreme Rules. But I think it was a hardcore match.
Uh-huh.
Might have been a street fight, I forget. But that kind of thing made the title feel important as hell. Because a main eventer, or an old main eventer rather, he wanted to take it off of this new guy who was like really important.
Uh-huh.
Eventually, I think the guy that took it from him was Edge, but it's like it felt like a title that wasn't a waste of time for guys that have already had world titles to hold, like Chris Jericho. He held that Intercontinental Championship.
Tons of times.
Yeah, it's after he was the undisputed World Heavyweight Champion.
Uh-huh.
He had still held it after that, and it still felt like something because it was still being, sought after instead of just being an afterthought.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, that filled quite a bit of time, but I think I got my point across.
No, yeah, I do hope that it'd be really nice if the Intercontinental title can feel like the second best guy who has the most potential can hold it. Because, I mean,
Right.
if we're going to try to use it at this point, someone like Rollins would have to capture it so that he can defend it against the Shield mates.
Right.
And if they're going to make Roman get up to the world title soon, maybe he'll hold it too. I don't know.
Who knows? But
Yeah.
if it keeps going as it is now, it's never going to feel like it's important again.
Yeah. Yeah, so what else happened on Raw? What were you about to say? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, I don't think.
Let's see.
Let's keep the ball rolling here.
Yeah, the ball rolling. So yeah, that tag team match in the main event when they teamed up Cena.
Cena's kind of their go-to guy. It's like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? Throw in Cena.
So did you know one of my friends was telling me that I guess at house shows they try out stuff like they'll just put random people together or do something at a house show, and if the fans doesn't shit on it, then they'll go ahead and probably do it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff like Summer Rae and Ziggler teaming up or being together in some sort of group or a manager situation, or they had Cena, I guess, doing the Shield thing before too. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that likely won't happen, but
Well, I know that I don't think there's going to ever be a third member again unless, Seth Rollins comes back if they keep it, together that long.
uh-huh.
I think it's just going to be that's the three guys that were in the Shield and that's it.
Uh-huh.
But that doesn't mean that the members of the Shield can't team up with people from time to time. Because, Cena sticks his nose in a lot of people's business. So,
Right. Just happens like that.
yeah, pretty much. So, last week, or this past Raw, this is when we got confirmation that it was going to be a world title match, right?
Yeah,
The
about
ladder
the
match, yeah.
ladder match. They just
This is
went
when we
ahead
got
and
actual
stripped them.
confirmation. And that kind of brings me to another subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about because it's worrying. Apparently, Daniel Bryan isn't doing as good as as they were hoping he was doing. Like, he's not getting the strength back like he should be getting. So some people, like, they're kind of knocking on wood and stuff, but thinking, what happens if he can't come back?
That is,
It's
especially with all his momentum, that'd be a bad way to really go out.
Yeah, it's like fucking. It'd be really, really, really unfortunate because Daniel Bryan was basically he was being set up to be in the main event for a long time because of the Yes Movement thing. Like, they made it the fans made it so that it was impossible to not have Daniel Bryan be a permanent fixture. So if he does, if it is to the point where he can't come back, where he has to retire already, it's like,
He's
well,
still really young too.
yeah, it's like, well, fuck, are we gonna have to deal with 5 more years of Randy Orton and John Cena and featuring special guest Roman Reigns every once in a while? Like, it's kind of worrying. Like, the future looks bright, but we still get little glimpses of, hey, Randy Orton is the same age as Daniel Bryan, by the way, so it's like he's still gonna be around for a while.
Do you think it was it's hard to think that it was Daniel Bryan's style that did that because I mean he fought him crazier in the indies.
Well, he was also younger in the Indies,
Okay, yeah.
and I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. Um, take for example Hulk Hogan.
Uh-huh.
Hulk Hogan, who wrestled the most boring style on the planet. When you hit the leg drop every night for years, it's going to cause back problems. It's going to cause like tailbone problems and shit like that too. He hit the leg drop all the fucking time.
Uh-huh.
That was his finishing move. And now, like, the more he did it, the more complications it has. Now you fast forward to a guy that wrestled on the indies and did crazier shit than that, like, 4 nights a week, just trying to make a living without making the WWE paycheck. And then you fast forward to now, he's in his early 30s, and he's, doing a watered down version of the indie style, but still doing some of those really high impact moves. And now compounding that with the fact that he doesn't get to sleep as often as he might want to, because of the WWE and shit.
Always on the
That
road.
shit's gonna get to you. Yeah, that shit's gonna get to you. Like, regardless. That's why guys who work a safer style still end up lasting longer. Guys like Randy Orton, fucking, he's gonna be around until he's 50. Unless he fucking dies or something. But he's going to be around until he's 50. Because he wrestles a very safe style most of the time. Only ever, like, doing anything ridiculous in matches where he has to. But he's very self-preservative. Like, none of his moves are really that crazy. The RKO involves him hitting his back. So does the DDT, but that's it. He doesn't even do things. He doesn't even do things fast. He's very slow and methodical.
Yeah, he can always break his falls.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be around for a long time, and he's still young. The only reason why it feels like he's old is because he's been around for so fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
He was what, 24 when he was in Evolution.
Yeah.
And 10 years after that, he's 34, So that's it. He's 34 he's about 34 years old. So he's still got a long way to go before we don't see Randy Orton anymore. And that's scary because he's already, what, an 11, 12-time world champion?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Everyone's getting up to those numbers nowadays.
Yeah, it's like we were worried about Cena, like, breaking Ric Flair's record, and he is only 1 away from matching it, 2 away from breaking it. But Randy Orton, like, if he's got at least another 10 years left. Like, holy shit, 10 more years? You mean to tell me that Randy Orton's not going to have fucking 6 more title reigns in 10 years? I don't think so.
I think, because is his original 10-year contract almost up? Or is it like halfway through?
Oh, what do you mean?
I remember at some point Orton signed like a 10-year contract.
Oh, I don't know.
It was after he had the championship for a while.
I just know they're never getting rid of him, ever. So,
Yeah.
until he decides to quit, we're going to see Randy Orton on WWE TV.
Forever.
So, yeah, hopefully Daniel Bryan does come back and he's still good to go, but there's a legitimate concern that maybe he won't. And as much as I don't want to think about it, just kind of keep it in the back of your head, because anything could happen.
So this makes me question another style. Like, so RVD right now is part-time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I know he doesn't do everything as crazy as he used to, but he's still puts on a good performance in the ring.
Yeah.
He's still pretty agile. Does all his flips and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So you think because he's part timer, that's how he preserves himself more? Cause
Probably,
yeah.
because he was even a part timer in TNA. Like, he hasn't worked a full time schedule in a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. I know I mentioned it. I texted you about it,
Uh huh.
but the releases.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. We totally should talk about that. How all those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know the list, but let's see if I can remember.
Oh, I think I can pull
Um,
it up for you.
one of the referees got released,
Yeah.
and guess which one it was?
The referee's name.
He was black. Go figure.
Oh no.
This set of releases was very much a let's get the minorities out of here kind of release, because like look,
Let's
fucking
see,
the only
Mark
member
Harris.
of the
Mark Harris.
yeah, Mark Harris, the only member of 3MB that didn't get released was the white one. Think about that. Think about that.
Jinder Mahal.
Right,
Fine.
gender my balls. But
That's crazy.
honestly, if they didn't fucking make this like a storyline about fucking Zeb Coulter and Zack Swagger like getting rid of all these guys, I'd fucking love that. Just like come on Raw and be like, yeah, we deported half the roster.
Right, they could write it off that way too, just because
Right.
they let have Zeb Coulter.
Right. Fucking you got Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, Black Referee, which is I guess his nickname online actually, Black Referee.
Was he the one that always did the Divas matches?
Yeah.
Well,
He was
it's
the one
always a
that
black
always did the
referee in a
Divas
Divas match
matches.
for some reason. What the
Yeah,
hell?
it's he did a lot. He was the one that did that weird botch where fucking Natalia had AJ in the sharpshooter. I think it was on an episode of Raw, and fucking I think he called for the bell too early because like Natalia let go of the sharpshooter and then AJ started tapping out and everyone was all fucking confused and shit.
Uh-huh.
But then the bell wasn't called for, so they had to keep going with the match. And he was the referee that did that,
Ouch.
or was involved in that. I don't know whose fault it was, but it was fucked up for a while.
Awkward.
So Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, Black Ref.
We also
He also had
Oksana.
JTG. Oh man, no longer employed.
Finally, yeah, he been in there for a minute. Like,
Dude, JTG still being employed was such was so impactful when he finally got released that he was trending on Twitter.
wow.
When he got released, he was trending on Twitter, which funny enough may lead to him getting a job again.
Right.
I would laugh my ass off if they re-signed JTG because everyone was freaking out about him getting fired. He started trending on Twitter, so everyone's like, "Oh man, we got to get JTG back."
Wow, he's actually important.
Right. Oksana, as you said, who I'm actually gonna miss. She started growing on me big time recently.
Right.
Like, she's so thick. I don't know, something about her was delicious. That raven hair and shit. It was nice.
Yeah. She probably was misunderstood.
Literally.
Yeah. And Kurt Hawkins.
Kurt Hawkins, yep, he was white.
Yeah.
They released him. I think, or was he Canadian? Ooh, who knows?
Ooh, big difference.
I don't know.
Let's see.
But big difference, right?
Yeah, Teddy Long.
Oh yeah, but he was more of a voluntary thing. Like, he didn't get released against his will. He was kind of. It was kind of time for him to go, I guess.
Okay, well that's better. Camacho.
Yep, another foreigner.
He didn't really accomplish anything in NXT.
No, he didn't. He helped get a couple of guys. Well, he put a couple of guys over, but that's really it.
It just reminds me of the gimmicks like Hunico or and all the other guys. Like it's like the same gimmick,
Right.
gangster Mexican guy. Walk
Right.
to the ring real slow. Brodus Clay didn't quite make it to the main event. like he wanted.
He's a main event player, guys.
Nah, he'll be main eventing the Indies.
Right.
You know,
Not even that. He'll be like he'll be saving the Dolphins.
right. Evan Bourne.
Evan Bourne, yeah, that's right.
If he goes to TNA, he better not team up with the American Wolves. Please don't.
Evan Bourne.
It's like the
I could see them bringing him in and then trying to rip off the Shield by putting them all in SWAT gear.
they all look like the same guy. That's what would kill me.
Right. They'd call it the Sword.
Yeah, the sword.
It'd be just all of them are high flyers.
The sword.
Um,
Let's see.
who else?
Yoshitatsu,
Yeah.
the one Japanese guy that was left.
Yep. He needed to go because for his own good, really, because WWE didn't want to do anything for him. Like he just kind of had a miserable existence in the WWE. So it's good that he's gone.
So
Just
basically,
for his sake.
because he was bound under that contract. So basically,
Yeah.
these are people who ran out of the contract and they decided let's get rid of him instead of renewing it.
Well, no, they actually released them. I guess Kurt Hawkins had like 3 years left on his contract.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
I was drinking water.
What? It sounds so terrifying. It sounded like you were slapping a bitch like, constantly. Like, fucking Jesus.
I'll remember that sound bite if I need it. Anyways, yeah. So I'm pretty sure they did that too to save money. They're not gonna
Yeah,
pay
oh,
somebody to
definitely.
not put it on TV 3 more years of paychecks, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's everyone though, right?
Yeah, on the list. That looks like
Okay.
everyone.
So I mentioned this to you.
Yeah.
Now the only member of 3MB that didn't get released was Heath Slater.
Correct, yes.
Now, what are they going to do with Heath Slater? That was my question.
Mhm.
Then I remembered Cody Rhodes saying to Goldust that his partner for next week was going to be someone we've never seen before.
Right.
Now, I was thinking, who could that be? But then I forgot about it. Then I put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, they're going to repackage Heath Slater as Clem Layfield.
Clint Layfield, was that like a previous character? I wasn't.
No, Clem Layfield is a member, well, one of the characters on the JBL and Cole show.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, they might be trying to do the same thing they did with Wade Barrett with other members. Like, you know, fucking Clem Layfield being, well, he'd probably still be a comedy jobber, but it would give him stuff to do, I guess. You know, I'd be perfectly fine with that. But Clem Layfield, Cody Rhodes and shit, they were making the JBL and Cole show so much more entertaining just by being there and being themselves. And if that was the case, I know we kind of thought about, you know, having this kind of be the entryway into a Cody Rhodes versus Goldust feud.
Right.
But I almost kind of want just to be like Cody Rhodes, Goldust, and Clem Layfield just to be like a thing. Not necessarily a stable, but just to be constantly like around each other and just producing like fucking entertaining fucking segments all the time.
Cause someone like Goldust too always had entertaining segments whenever he was
Right.
with Booker T or somebody else. But
And
yeah.
you know it's messed up when Goldust is being a serious character nowadays. It's like, man,
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And like, you know, I have a big burden on my shoulders to live up.
Right.
You know. He's always
Right.
been like a comedy gimmick in the past. So
well, he wasn't always a comedy gimmick. Back when he first debuted, it was really risque and shit. So
Right.
it was he was actually scary in the sense that one of America's fears at that time was things they couldn't understand, and they certainly couldn't understand fucking people walking around being openly that. It's like, is he gay? I guess not. He's fucking a hot ass bitch. But
Right.
what is he then? Like, what the fuck? What is the deal with this?
scary.
Right. Basically something like that.
Uh-huh.
But as the times evolved, he stopped being that kind of character, and, you know, he evolved with it. He started being a comedy guy because that's really all he could do at that
Yeah,
point.
he had to evolve, adapt.
Right. So we should probably run through the rest of Raw. I don't think too much else happened.
Let me see. There was the tag match with Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and
Versus the Usos, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and they won, right? The Luke
correct.
Harper and Rowan.
They did, yes.
Yes. So it's looking like we'll probably see a tag team match and potentially new tag team champions. Like I wouldn't be against the Wyatt family having some belts.
I think they could get them at one point. They're good enough at this point, you
Right.
know. They're not just Bray Wyatt's henchmen, you know.
Right.
They can,
So I know we had the main event. I'm pretty sure Cena got the win for the Shield. I think, or was it Roman Reigns? It might have been
it was
Roman.
Roman, I believe.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I always default to Cena winning, but I guess that it's not always the case.
Right.
But Cena still got to take a Sister Abigail, so that's always cool to see.
Uh-huh. What was up with
Um,
Damien Sandow with
with
the dancing? I just remembered that.
yeah, I think they're like look at it this way, right?
Uh-huh.
Damian Sandow's a heel,
Uh-huh.
and he's doing a bunch of silly shit, but he's taking himself serious as a heart attack. He's not an obvious comedy guy like Heath Slater is. Like
Right.
he's coming out, he's doing this weird shit, but he's still kind of talking shit.
Get noticed.
So
Get noticed. That's
what I'm thinking is that they're trying to make it similar to what Edge and Christian used to do way back in the day.
uh-huh.
Like they're trying to make what Sandow does legitimately entertaining, and they're having him job out now, but I'm thinking that might not last.
Right.
I'm thinking like they're kind of using this not necessarily just to test him, but if you notice during that match, Sandow was getting chance.
Yeah, it's weird how, you just do something interesting, then you'll actually get a pop from the fans. It's just
Right.
a matter of changing your character.
So I don't know if they're this smart or not, but the way I see it, it looks as if they're trying to make Sandow a sympathetic figure
Uh-huh.
and kind of being meta in order to get him noticed and get him over
Right.
to the point to where he finally starts doing something, the crowd will actually react positively.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that might be the case.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
He should get like another chance, especially after, not really having the best chance at the world title.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's about it. Like they didn't really do too much else. We talked about the Seth Rollins promo.
The rest was the mid-card stuff. Alicia getting weird on Oksana to the point where Oksana wanted to leave.
And she did.
That's
Go
exactly
figure.
how it happened. Yeah, I can't work with that girl anymore. I quit.
Yeah, I need to be released right now. I was getting a little bit too aroused.
Right. Right.
I guess we should probably talk a little bit about the important things that happened on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch it because I have things to do that day, but you always watch it. So
Or
you
I
said
watch it for the most part. I did. I
right.
was home this time to watch it.
So from what I understand, Bray Wyatt had a qualification match against Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, the way it went down was the Shield in the beginning, where doing had a little session talking about Rollins. Triple H was like, "Hey, you two, there's only one spot in the Money in the Bank main event match, world title match." So he like flipped the coin, and like he picked Ambrose to be in the qualifier, and so to fight Bray Wyatt, and then he put Reigns against Bad News Barrett in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And from what I understand, Reigns beat Barrett,
yeah,
but Seth Rollins interfered in the Ambrose match and caused Ambrose to lose.
yeah.
So we know that Bray Wyatt's been added to the Money in the Bank championship match.
That already makes it more interesting, just because he's in it. Because it's always the wish and hope that anybody in the match can win it, especially since it's just a ladder match.
I mean, so far, like he's the person that I want to win it the most. I know a lot of people are like rooting for Cesaro, but unless they start doing something different with him,
Right.
because like the thing is, Cesaro's entertaining, But what they're doing with him right now, with Paul Heyman, it's not going to translate well into, oh, now he has the title.
It,
You know, like
it almost feels
he's
like he's getting the Rusev treatment, having somebody really talk him up.
right.
And
He's not necessarily as over as he once was, but that like was apparently the plan. Like I guess what they were trying to do is make it so that the fans keep wanting a face turn. So they're trying to like let it simmer
uh-huh.
until they eventually break off. But as it stands right now, like Paul Heyman, when he comes out, he talks up Brock Lesnar more than he does Cesaro.
Right.
So, like, it seems like Cesaro getting that title right now, at least, would be a waste. Do I want him to get it eventually? Yes. But right now would be a little bit too not makey sensey, I guess.
Make you sensey nice.
And I definitely don't want fucking Del Rio or Sheamus or Randy Orton to have it. So as it stands now, Bray is my only dog in the fight.
It would be fun and to see Bray Wyatt because I mean, sometimes that's always happens. Somebody lost a match to go on to win like the world title, something bigger. Kind of like
Right.
you you get dismissed from this job, but then you get put in a better situation out of nowhere, or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that would put the spotlight back on Bray Wyatt after getting crushed in this saga by Cena, so that he can still be important.
Right.
But yeah, I don't Cesaro. Yeah, I don't really think
I
he.
guess we'll have to see who the remaining two are. I'm almost fucking positive Cena's gonna make his way in it.
Uh,
Because he's not doing anything else. So obviously put him in the ladder match, even if he's not going to win it. Like him being in the ladder match would make a whole lot more sense than starting a random feud right now, this late in the game.
right.
Since they're still kind of working off of his thing with Bray Wyatt,
Uh,
but I don't think they're going to do another Bray Wyatt match with him. So I
yeah.
think they might just have them blow it off in the ladder match.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the person winning it is going to be narrowed down to who's going to produce a legitimate storyline or get a legitimate challenger to make a storyline for the coming pay-per-views because like someone like Cesaro, he has a good chance, but he still feels like he has those mid-card storylines. Like I just fight a guy, at a pay-per-view,
Yeah.
so
I mean, I guess if they do better, if they build him up, like if they build up like all the competitors in the ladder match before Money in the Bank, then maybe it might work out better. But right now, it still just feels way too thrown together. And to be fair, it is because this ladder match was supposed to be just for the Money in the Bank, which doesn't ever really need build up.
and now it's
'Cause-
actual belts on the line.
Right, because of the Bryan situation. Now it's like they're scrambling to like fill in the blanks, and I understand that's not exactly the easiest thing in the world. Because the thing about the Money in the Bank ladder match, it's normally guys that aren't necessarily doing something, and then when they get the briefcase, then they can start building them up.
Right.
But, it's like, oh shit, now we got all these guys. Fucking Del Rio hasn't even fucking been doing anything since his feud with Batista.
Yeah.
He hasn't done jack diddly squat since losing the world title. Like, he's been down and out, and now it's like, oh, randomly he beats Dolph Ziggler, and now he's in the title match.
I don't think he's even cut a promo since then either.
Nope. Like he tried cutting promos on Batista, but that was a fucking embarrassing feud.
Yeah.
That was also the most over Del Rio's ever been. It's like, oh yeah, he's fighting fucking Batista. Fuck Batista, go Del Rio.
Woo!
Like,
Yeah, that's when
that-
people actually cheered him. Now I remember that.
Yeah, and I even said in one of the shows that we had during that time,
Yes.
like that was the most over he had been for me too, because like it felt like Del Rio was a legitimate person instead of just being a caricature.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Uh,
True. So yeah, I do hope the last other two people make an impact, but depending on it right now, I'm kind of thinking of Bray being a safe choice, just because
Yeah.
the Wyatt's dominance in the WWE, it will put them on a whole nother level, and
Right.
anyone can challenge the Wyatt family at this point,
yeah.
So Um,
I also, speaking of, well, not speaking of, we didn't talk about it, but since we're getting close to the end here, I kind of had a suggestion for our Diva of the Week segments.
yes.
I was thinking maybe instead of doing a weekly Diva thing, maybe we do it monthly.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Tally up all the matches, results,
yeah,
and stuff. Yeah, because I mean, they don't get that much screen time as is, so if
right.
the
So,
same one
like,
is dominating all the time, yeah.
choosing another, like, especially now that we're doing it actually on time as opposed to, like, of all time,
Uh huh.
it'd definitely be a lot better to do it monthly.
No, yeah, I see what you're saying.
We already did our Diva of the Week this month too, and it was Bailey. So
Bailey!
our 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 2014 Diva of what is it, June?
June
Uh,
2014.
right, was Bailey. So that's cool. Bailey to Belly, her bubbly ass and shit. It's
Yeah.
it's really weird, but it's cool.
We just have a website, put all the divas of the weeks. June 2014, like
Right.
a swimsuit photo and stuff. I didn't know this existed.
It's just a fan, like it's just a fan drawing of Bailey just half naked.
It's pretty good. I thought it was official art.
It's Anna Bailey.
Anna Bailey, right? It had to be the anime Bailey. Um, but yeah, nah, yeah, we can start doing that so we don't say another week of dominance.
Right. It's like, and your diva of the week is, let's just give it to this person.
Right.
Other than that, we're pretty much done. Slammiversary. Oh, I think we should probably mention this just real quick.
Uh-huh.
Slammiversary is tomorrow. We recorded this on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
Slammiversary is tomorrow.
Yes.
The main event that's been built up, fucking for months. Well, at least a month. Was MVP challenging MVP challenging Eric Young
Uh-huh.
for the championship. That's the main event. Yesterday, and yet, well, not yesterday, on Thursday's edition of Impact, it was revealed that the stipulation would be a steel cage, and that's all fine and good. The problem, during a house show, MVP got injured,
Yes.
and he's not going to be able to compete in that match. Now, they didn't have any more episodes of Impact to make this happen. So basically, whoever doesn't know about that and buys Impact for whatever reason aren't going to get the main event that they necessarily were expecting.
That's gonna be weird.
So honestly, I'm looking forward to it just to see what the fuck they do.
Well, I'm on a website right now, and it seems like it's going to be a steel cage three-way match between the winner of Lashley and Joe and Aries and King.
Really?
That's what I'm looking at right now. Like the silhouette is
I
a
mean, as much as I know it's not going to happen, I would love to have a three-way fucking between Eric Young, Samoa Joe, and Austin Aries.
right.
That'd be a great three-way, but I know that's not going to happen. I don't necessarily think Eric Young would lose the title. He might,
Uh-huh.
but since it's just so short notice, I don't think they would do something as drastic as giving it to somebody that's not MVP. Like maybe MVP winning could have happened, but since it's not MVP, I don't know if they're necessarily gonna take the title off of EY.
Yeah, apparently these matches will all be at Slammiversary as well. Like Lashley and Joe takes place the same night as well as Aries and
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah. I think those were announced yesterday, or not yesterday, fucking Thursday.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of cool at least. As long as it's not a fucking. Honestly, no matter which one wins the King and Aries match, I'm sure they're gonna contribute really well. I just don't want it to be. It's like, oh, well, both Lashley and fucking Kenny King won, so now they're going to proceed to, team up. But then, oh, they want the titles, so now they're gonna fight each other. Like that's been done to death. So I would much rather it be,
I think it's
you know,
gonna be. I think if TNA had smart booking, if they were smart enough to do this, it would have been Joe and Aries against Eric
oh
Young.
yeah, Yeah, I would love to see that match.
Er-
Just on a want to see it kind of thing. I don't think they're going to have Bobby Lashley lose against Joe though, and that's the only thing.
Right.
What I would have much rather seen, and it would have been awesome, is if they took all of the singles matches that were happening,
Right.
the Bully Ray versus EC3 match, the Willow versus Magnus.
Right.
Then you had fucking Kenny King versus Joe, and Aries versus. No, I got that mixed up. But you know those two that we just talked about. And I think another singles match was Anderson versus Storm.
Yeah.
Take four of those matches, and then say the winner of each of them. Let's exclude Bully's match, I guess, just simply because it's already a gimmick match, I guess. And then put the four winners of those matches against EY in the main event in a King of the Mountain match.
Oh, I haven't heard that match name in a while.
Yeah, that used to be Slammiversary's thing, was a King of the Mountain match, but they just haven't done it.
Right.
So I would have liked to see that, but I guess since we're getting a three-way cage match, I'm sure it's bound to be pretty good.
Yeah. There's also Kurt Angle announcing the next Hall of Famer.
Which will probably be Jeff Hardy or something.
Right.
I can tell you it's not going to be a TNA original.
That's sad. All people non-TNA. There's going to be a ladder match for the X Division title, and it looks like the Wolves are actually competing in it as well.
Yeah.
Sonata's still the champ. Crazy Steve, haven't seen. Oh, that's the guy with what's the name?
The Menagerie. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the clown.
Yeah.
What's this? I don't know who that is. I think that's actually a good time to end this, actually.
Tigray.
Because we've been going on, and I need to get food. So.
Yeah, you're starving. The hunger.
The hunger is real. I've only had breakfast today.
I'll just run through the last matches. Gail versus Angelina for the Knockouts title.
Yeah.
And then Von Erich family is supposed to pop up too.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh
I guess
man, that's funny.
this is a good place to end it here.
I agree. Yes.
Thank you guys for watching. Once again, this was MAWS Talks Wrestling. We have been your hosts. I am LunaKage.
I am the great Glenburg.
The great Glenburg. And thank you guys for watching.
Peace.